Good morning, y'all. First video. My name is Christina, also known as ccmadethat on Instagram and Ravelry, and decided to try out YouTube. I love YouTube. I love watching makers on YouTube, and here I am. Coming to you from the traditional unceded territories of the Chochenyo Ohlone people, also known as Oakland, California. And I'm here with my partner and my lovely, toothless, very vocal cat, Jordy. As you can see, Jordy's spot. He'll probably pop in here and scream at me, so there's that warning. Yeah, but I'm here to talk to you about my making. I'm a sewist and knitter and maker in general. And in the last year, I've really fallen in love with knitting, so I thought I would share, things I've been working on, things I've finished, because I feel like this format is just really conducive to like the slow making of knitting. So here we are. Yeah, so let's buckle up, see how this goes. It's so awkward talking to my phone, but here we are. I'm gonna take a sip of tea. Okay. So, sit down, enjoy a beverage of choice or a snack. I have some tea with oat milk and sugar and some banana chocolate chip bread. Maybe I'll show some footage of me making it. I made it yesterday. And let me grab my notes. Let's see. Yeah, I wanted to post this video as kind of a practice into, making this video, because I'm planning on doing vlogmas, which is, just posting however much you want during the kind of holiday season in December. And I've always really enjoyed watching them in December, and I thought I would, try it out, see if I like, making these. I will probably do once a week, probably starting December 1st. So you'll get a whole week's worth of my life and my making and good old holiday goodness. Okay, so we will start with some recently finished projects. I'll start with the single malt pullover. This is a sweater I made my husband. It's a pattern by Maxim Sear, also known as Max the Knitter on Instagram. It comes in 9 sizes up to a 63-inch chest. And I made my partner, let me get a little closer. Look at that texture. So I made my partner a size 4 to fit his 40-inch chest, and the only modification I made, surprisingly, was just to lengthen the bottom hem about 1.5 inches. And the sleeves I made to pattern, which is surprising because my partner has pretty long arms, but they fit him pretty well. And I didn't make any modifications in the decreases, and it fit him great. But I will say he has slender arms, so I would just take that into account in the decreasing for the arms. And he loves it. And, you know, in the Bay Area, it doesn't get super cold, and this is made with 100% wool. I used Knit Picks Wool of the Andes worsted in the shade Merlot Heather. And it really softens up with blocking, but I would say it's definitely on the kind of more rustic-y side because it's non-superwash. But I know this will be a sweater that will hold up with time and wear, so that's why I chose it. And fits great. You do construct it from the top down, so from the neckline, and then you split for sleeves. It's a raglan with a beautiful raglan detailing right here. That does continue down the arm, which is a really nice touch, into the ribbing. So, great sweater. Can't wait till it gets cold enough for him to wear it, so we shall see. And I had purchased 10 balls, but used 8, and maybe like less than a foot of yarn for a 9th, so I'm gonna call it 8 for this sweater. And so with the leftovers, I have my second finish object. That is the Roku Hat, and that is by Olga Buraya Kefalian. Apologies for my pronunciation. Or Olga Jazzy Knits on Instagram. It is a 1x1 ribbed hat pattern, and it, on first impressions, I love it. Like, it's a pretty great staple hat. I love the way it fits. I like that it's not too much space here. I don't like hats with a lot of like extra stuff going on here. It's super cozy but not tight to my head, which I don't like hats that sit too close to my head. And it's also very flexible and stretchy. Like, this is the 2nd size and it fits my partner really well. You can see how stretchy it is. It is flexible for sizing, and it's a quick make. I love making hats, so I will definitely be making this again. I used the leftovers of the Wool of the Andes worsted by Knit Picks, and yeah, I really recommend this pattern if you're looking for just a staple hat for gifts or just for yourself to learn some new techniques too, because another thing with this hat is you construct it from the brim upwards to the decreases and then finish up here. But this was my first time doing a long tail tubular cast on. And as you can see, it is so clean. It looks like the ribbing just like starts from nowhere, which, granted, the technique is kind of fiddly. I used Isolde Teague's video on YouTube for how to do the longtail cast on, or longtail tubular cast on, and I was able to just like watch it and do it, so her video is really clear, and I'll go ahead and post it down below so you can take a look. But I think it's really worth it for how clean this looks. I'll definitely be using it again, and it's not that scary. Yeah, but that's my second finished object. I am probably gonna leave it off because it is hot here today. We're in November, yeah, we're in November and I'm sweating, but here we are. So Roku hat, highly recommend. So let's see what else I got. Yeah, I think at this point now I can move on to works in progress. And currently I have like way more works in progress than what I'm going to share today, but that'll be a video for another time. I'm going to share what I am currently actively working on for this month and hoping to finish in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, and first one is a test knit. I'm very excited about it. It is a test knit by Sari Nordlund, and when she posted a teaser photo of the pullover, and it's called the Levi Pullover, I was in love instantly. I'd never made a sweater like this before, and I just like fell in love with how it looked and some of the unique details. It's an Icelandic color work inspired sweater, but she has some little nice touches that make it unique, and I've never made a sweater like that before. So when the test knit call came out, I signed up immediately. I already had my colors picked out. I was like ready. So here's my progress so far of the Levi Pullover by Sari Nordlund. Wow, it looks pretty awesome so far. I'm very happy with it. So the construction, it's going to be top down, and it has this really wide double neckline. So you do this really long 1x1 ribbing, and then you fold it over and sew it on the inside, so you have this really cushy neckline, which I love. And then you start into the yoke, which has the increases and color work, and this is my first time knitting color work in without a written instructions, just from a chart. I don't know, I had some like brain blockages about like reading charts and how it works, and I was like overwhelmed. I'm still a new-ish knitter. I learned to knit in March of 2021, so it's been a little over a year and some change. So I had like some sort of blockage about like reading from charts, but for some reason this pullover, like, it just connected, it just clicked. I started reading from the chart. I could only read from the chart, so, and as a test knit, so I just felt like, I'm like, okay, let's like step up to this challenge. So I have been working on it and loving it. Let me do a little close-up. So I'm using the yarn that Sari Nordlund suggests. So that's Let Lopi, three colors I used are color 1418, 1406, and 9426. They don't have names, so those are the numbers. And let me just give you a close-up of this. It's an Icelandic wool, very rustic and can be kind of scratchy for some, but I noticed in blocking it definitely softens up and is very lightweight. So it makes a lightweight pullover, but very, very, very warm. Yeah, so that's my progress on that. The test call ends, or the testing ends, I think the end of November. So I have lots of time, and I am at the point where I'm about less than 10 rows away from splitting for the sleeves. I'll probably work on the sleeves to see how that goes and then finish the body. So I have lots of time for that, a couple more weeks. Another work in progress is the Sophie shawl by Petite Knit. We all know this pattern. I cast it on a sick day, I think last week or 2 weeks ago. I just like didn't have a lot of energy, wasn't feeling up for it, so I wanted to cast on just something simple that, you know, my brain would not have to do much thinking. So here's my progress so far. So yeah, quite a bit since, you know, just casually picking it up whenever I feel like it. Have a little progress keeper. It's a little pearl cat. This is by Maria of Woolen Forest. Yeah, so that's how much progress I have. I love the garter stitch of this pattern because it makes it super plush and cushiony and will make a great just kind of like wrap around your neck shawl. So yeah, I'm using some yarn from my stash. I'm using Patton's Classic Wool Worsted, and in the shade Dark Gray Mix, and I have 2 balls of this. It's a really great, to be honest, I find this to be a really great yarn that you can buy at Michael's or at your local craft store. It's really soft and really cushiony in this garter stitch, and I know that when I block it, it'll just get even softer. And it is I think it's a non-superwash. I think this is a non-superwash yarn, but I might be wrong. So really nice option if you're looking for a worsted weight. And another thing I love about this pattern, the shawl in particular, is Petite Knit gives you instructions for how to work the shawl in just the yarn you have. So she does have 3 sizes for this shawl, but if you're just working with the yarn you have, she gives you instructions for how to modify based on the yarn you have, which is great. And so just with my 2 balls, I think I'm gonna end up with a size that's somewhere between the small and the medium size in the shawl. So it's great. And it is very simple and easy pattern, but I have a hard time keeping track of my counts before increasing. So I use just like a ring counter on my thumb to while I'm working on this pattern, because that's just the way I can work and know like when to increase for in this pattern. So yeah, sick day knit. Yeah, snack and tea break. This is Primo banana bread. I may put it in here, but yesterday I made some banana bread, a new recipe to me from New York Times Cooking. It's a vegan banana chocolate chip bread, or cake. I don't really consider it bread, it's cake. And has lots of spices, but is an interesting combo of like banana, spices like cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, and chocolate chips. And it's really yummy. I think it has a really nice texture for a vegan banana bread. It's like moist, but not like gummy, if that makes sense. And someone made a modification to do like chopped apples and add more spices, no chocolate chips, for like an apple cake, and I'm definitely gonna do that in the future. Yeah. So those are what I'm working on actively right now. I'm keeping it fairly chill because I feel like November, December is gonna be just wild with knit-alongs galore, vlogmas. I don't know if I'm gonna do much gift knitting, but I might. But I'm really excited for some upcoming knit-alongs going on, and want to participate in a real way and not like participate and have like 20 million other projects on the side. So that's why it's fairly chill right now. Another work that I will talk about that I have decided to frog or take apart and reknit something else is the Stephen West mystery knit along for this year. Last year was my first year knitting it. It was also like my first year of knitting, so it was very exciting, very nerve-wracking. I was still like pretty new to a lot of knitting techniques, and you can see it right here. I keep it on my couch in case I get cold, but pretty proud of it. So that was my first year, so I was really excited to continue this year's. And I started, I'll show you my progress. Not very much progress, let's be real. So this is clue 1. I think I got about halfway. Through clue 1. And then by the time I got halfway, all 4 clues were out, and kind of lost steam. And I don't think it's necessarily because I didn't like the shawl design. I think Stephen West is a genius. I think I have realized I'm becoming more of a product knitter, in that I knit for the end result, in particular to have something to wear. And while I still enjoy how the shawl ended up, I love shawls that are very like wide and blankety, and the long length but like kind of skinny width wasn't like my style. And I'm not the biggest fan of like high contrast, well, mine isn't like super high contrast, but high contrast like striping. And so there's a lot of that, and so I just wasn't super into it. But I've really just you know, decided maybe a few days ago that, you know, I think it's time to take it apart, mostly because I was also thinking this will be my background project, you know, when I'll pick it up when, you know, in between other projects I'm working on, and for me that equals like it's gonna just like fall in the back burner. And I love the yarn I chose for the MCAL, so I want to use it. So it's La Bien Amie merino singles in the shade Sansa. And then I have Malabrigo, let's see, Malabrigo Makita in the shade Frank Ochre. And then my accent color is Ritual Dyes. I think this is Maiden fingering 2-ply. It's an 80-20, 80 superwash merino, 20% nylon fingering weight yarn, and this is in a exclusive Gem Club colorway. It's July Ruby, and so yeah, really love my colors. So I'm going to take it apart and knit something different with it. Definitely a shawl. I'm thinking of Andrea Mowry's, what shawl is that? Can't remember the name, but thinking of a different shawl. But if any of y'all have ideas for how to use the 2 colors plus the accent for a different shawl, please let me know. I can't remember the shawl I was thinking of, but it was the one she wore in her last video. I'll knit if I want to, I'll link it below. Because I saw it in that video and I was like, that's a beauty, and I think the colors will work really nicely for that shawl. So that's the MCAL. So other things I'm going to be working on for November is, speaking of Andrea Mowry, she just released a new sock pattern that's for her knit along for the weekend, the long weekend of Thanksgiving. And they're called the Bear Paw socks, very cute. And they are a DK weight version of her DRK everyday socks. And as someone who is like the classic sock knitter that knits one sock and then like has second sock syndrome and never finishes a sock, I've been really wanting to try a DK weight sock to see if like I could finish it and we'll see. So I also am very excited that I am not working the, you know, Friday after Thanksgiving. It's very rare for me as someone who used to work lots of retail and food service in the past. So this is my first year that I'm like not working, and so I have Thursday through Monday off. So I'm really excited to participate in this knit along. So we're knitting either her DRK everyday socks or the new DK weight version Bear Paw socks. And I have some yarn picked out just from my stash for those socks because I've been waiting for a DK weight pattern to like make them with. So here they are. This one is Madeline Tosh Mo Light in Matcha. And then this is a discontinued Cloudboard Superwash Merino Twist, I think, in the shade Coffee with Milk. So I think it will just make a really neutral, lovely sock. So wish me luck, because I think the little bit of the challenge plus like having some time off will help me accomplish actually finishing a pair of socks. So we'll see. So got those. I already have another Roku hat in the works. Roku hat. And this yarn that I got from websyarn.com. It's Cloud 9 Fibers Bonito. It is 90% wool, 10% alpaca, a worsted weight yarn, 100 grams to 175 yards. She's a beaut. It's showing really bright, but it's actually much more mellow. I think it's gonna make a cute hat. And honestly, I thought it was more red orange, and then I got it, it was orange, but luckily I love orange, so it's okay. If you have any tips for like red, not tips, but suggestions for worsted weight or DK weight, red orange yarn, let me know, because I really want a red orange hat. So that's on the plans, but you know, I knit this one in like 3 or 4 days, so I'll have this one done pretty quick. And then my most exciting purchase as of late, try not to crinkle. Yeah, this is my first purchase of nutiden yarn from Owner All Care. I've been a Patreon member for a couple of months. I am terrible at like shop updates and things like that, and anything that requires like speedy checkout, I am not good at. And for some reason, I just happened upon like checking the website when there was a shop update, and I was like, oh wow, I just like stumbled into this. I just got very lucky, and this was the shop update for October for Patreon members. And so I got 500 grams of the colorway Vagat. Let me come up close to show you. She's a beaut. I love greens. I practiced by winding a little ball of it, just to see, you know, how it behaves. This is my first time even touching, using unspun yarn. You can see how delicate she is. And I plan on making a ranunculus sweater with this yarn. That's my next upcoming project. That sweater needs no introduction. There's 20,000 people who have made it on Ravelry, so quite a popular pattern. I'm excited to be making it for the first time in a very special yarn. And yeah, that's like my latest acquisition that I am super excited about. I did purchase yarn from the last update this year. I purchased the brown called Gigamoya, and I plan on making a just simple staple cardigan with that yarn, and I'm excited. So yeah, I tend to buy yarn for projects versus buying yarn willy-nilly, because that could get a little wild. So yeah, excited about this one. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I think the last thing I'll say is, you know, I am also a sewist. The last few months have been a little slow in my sewing. I think, you know, I don't quite have the sewing mojo right now, and it's been a little difficult getting it back. I'm in a sort of space that I have to, you know, take out my sewing machine and serger and everything to sew, and usually on the weekends. So it's been a little hard to get the motivation to do that. But also I've been feeling a little kind of lost in like what I'm wanting for new garments, or just the change in seasons has me a little like, okay, like refocus my efforts on my making. So I think if you have any suggestions or advice on what you do to help your sewing mojo, please let me know, because I would appreciate any sort of methods or ways that help you. So I think how what I'm going to work on in the next couple of weeks is something small and something fairly easy and something I've been wanting for a while, so I will have instant gratification as well as like something that's just like really exciting to wear. So I plan on making Style Arc's North Coat skirt, and that is like a midi, I'll put a picture. That is like a midi length knit skirt, and the skirt goes up to a 61-inch waist and 70-inch hip. In I don't know how many sizes, but I initially found this pattern because I was looking to dupe the very expensive Baba skirt number 33 picture, entirely inspired by specifically Lemon at Lemon Wears Clothes on Instagram. I saw the skirt and I was like, yeah, I could definitely make that. And you know, as you know, Baba is like extreme prices, not super size inclusive, and so here we are. I have two fabrics for that. The first one is this just creamy beigey green rib knit. So I have some yardage of that. I got it from Mood Fabrics. If it's still available, I'll link it below. So I'll make my first skirt from that. You know, I think it mostly can be made on the serger, and there's an option for non-elastic waist or elastic waist. I'll probably put elastic just for longevity and making sure it like stays up, because this one is like a sweater knit a little bit, so it could lose its shape, but we'll see. And so that's the first one. And then I live way too close to Stone Mountain and Daughter Fabrics. It's dangerous. And I was in there and saw this cotton jersey, and I was like, yeah, this needs to be one of those skirts. So I have some yardage of this to make another midi skirt, because can you even, like this, plus my hat, some wool tights, if anyone has wool tight or stockings recommendations, looking for those for the winter. And this skirt. Yeah, so that's what I'm hoping to get my sewing mojo back, because these should be fairly simple to cut out. Literally three pieces, and then probably entirely serger construction. So hopefully at the next video I'll be able to show you these. and or on my Instagram. So feel free to follow me on Instagram at ccmadethat. Yeah, but I think that is it for today. It's weird talking to a camera. It's definitely something to get used to. Yeah, but excited to be a part of this and excited to comment below and engage with the making community, because it's why I do it, and it's part of why I do it, because the making community is just like lovely. So that's what I've got for today, and you'll probably see me close to December 1st for the first installment of Vlogmas. It'll probably be footage from like Thanksgiving through December 1st. So I'll be furiously knitting away at some socks, I'm sure. Spoiler alert. But hope you have a wonderful day, night, morning, and I will see you next time. Bye.